Okay. Yes. Okay. Mine just
real
caught up.
delay.
There we go. Just caught up. Fantastic.
Winning.
All right.
Yeah. I pressed one
All the
button.
way.
I pressed what? Sorry. Yeah, that's...
Isn't it great? I just
It's so much
there are
less
a few
stressful.
there are a few things that Elgato does badly, but Stream Deck is not one of them.
It's really not. And I
Yeah.
want to say it wasn't worth it. And but then I look at the pretty buttons with the like it I have all of our little icons as pictures and it's cute and
Oh, okay? You went all in on that, did you? Fantastic.
I
Yeah.
finished work early today
Uh-huh.
and that's how things ended up.
Yeah.
Did you want to change your green screen?
Oh, yeah. I suppose I should click that button.
It's been a week, everyone. It's been a week
It
for
has.
everyone. Everyone's had a week.
It
Where's
has
the
been
button
at
that-
least a week.
I've had just one. You've had two. Are you feeling better?
I am.
Yeah, my camera
last
is
week
at
was-
an odd angle, I think, but that's fine. Anyway, keep going. Sorry.
Work it
Never
out.
mind me. Yeah.
Last week was very strange for me because I did the classic ADHD trick of double booking myself
Ah, yes.
and then having to cancel both plans because I got sick.
Oh, no.
That happens when I double book myself as well.
Uh-huh.
It's not deliberate, but it's almost as though my brain goes, "Here, put everything on this one day. We can guarantee it's
That
not going to be
day.
a problem. We know it won't be a problem. Just put them all on this day." And I'm like,
Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out just fine. All right, just 1 second. Something is driving my... Speaking of ADHD, something is driving me bats. I'll be right back.
okay, so how do we win Open Legend?
Uh, uh, roll a d20 plus 2d12, and your target number is 2.
I don't think I have D12 in here because I don't need them yet. I only have D10.
And if you,
Oh wait.
if you get
I have D12.
10 above, then you get to apply 3
All right.
boons to your victory.
Wait, 10 above in
10 above 2 on a d20 and 2d12.
Oh my goodness. Well, no, I just got a 15.
That's 10 above 2.
Yes!
So we're fine.
Yes!
And
Still
Michelle,
winning.
we established while you were gone that we have one Open Legend.
We've won Open Legend.
There, the irritatingly bright orange cord is now invisible. Yay for me.
Huzzah!
okay,
Everyone's
well,
winning,
if you guys-
especially
I was
us.
gonna say, if you guys have won, then I suppose we can just wrap up the stream and figure out what we're doing next week. All right, that was easy to
I
do.
mean- I'm running one game of Monster Hearts. I'm happy to run another one.
Oh man, that
Morning,
game is
JJ.
so sweet.
It's so
I've
fun.
only ever GM'd. I would love to play a game of Monster Hearts.
I have never really dug in on that system, and I probably should. I know there's a lot of people who seem to think it's awesome, but I
It's
don't
not-
have a concise reason why. If I ask someone what they think of Monster Heart, what I tend to get is a lot of flailing and commentary about teenage romance,
I
and
can
I'm
tell
not
you-
sure if that's an endorsement or if it's the game system.
So I can tell you, I can tell you what I enjoy about it as a psychologist.
Mhm.
So, from a psychological perspective, what I love about Monster Hearts is the fact that you have two forms of hormones happening simultaneously. And sometimes they work together and sometimes they work against each other. But the way that the mechanics have been put together, it doesn't matter. When you have teen drama as the setting, anything monstrous just gets amped way up. And part of what I love about TTRPGs is literally like the fact that it's life with more, if that makes sense. Like it's just amped up life.
Yes.
So for me, that's why I like Monster Hearts.
Interesting. Okay.
I find like the thing for me that just sings with Monster Hearts is how it's just such a well-designed game in terms of analyzing what's wrong with people. Each individual playbook is like it. They have very not narrow focuses, but very specific
Yes.
focuses. Like, if you play a vampire, you are playing a character who has to work out how they deal with the fact that they don't understand consent very well.
Yes. I love
And if
it.
you play,
interesting.
and if you play a werewolf, you have to play someone whose instincts get the better of them.
Yes.
And if you play a ghost, you play someone who's not good at dealing with other people.
Yeah.
And like they're all metaphors.
Yeah.
That's why I like the game, is because it's all metaphors.
Interesting.
And one of
Interesting.
the things that I love is the number of skins that people have developed, especially since at this point in time I'm playing a Fae in a game that I'm playing in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing a Fae character, but I've gone old world Fae, not like hippie
Yes.
new world
Yeah.
Fae.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And
oh, I will steal your children and do
I
nothing.
will steal your children. I am a sensual predator. Good luck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so my fun task is who is in charge, me or my now vampire boyfriend? is step one. Like, who's actually in charge of this relationship? Who's leading this? But also, what kind of sexy am I? Is my fun is my favorite thing at the moment? Because do I take, because you can take moves from other playbooks.
Playbook.
So
Sure.
do I just take levels in Succubus, or do I take levels in Beast? Am I feral, or am I help?
Help is what we're calling Succubus now.
That's what I'm calling it, because I've been looking at a move called addictive, where if you give anyone physical pleasure, they become addicted to you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So help.
Yeah. I think that's what, like, it's just about incredibly problematic, flawed people.
Oh yeah, so
And-
toxic. Everything about it is toxic.
And
It's toxic done as a pop culture teen movie.
that's right. But, like, it actually says something about all of those toxicities. It's not
Yes.
just like, here, play these horrible disaster children, have fun. It's like, learn about these horrible disaster children and what those kind of relationships and people are like.
Well, the thing is, I find with roleplay, I remember a very good friend of mine, and both of us are, as we like to put it, both on the sociopath syndrome spectrum, and both of us, we were just sitting having, smoking and drinking one evening, as a couple of ex-Navy guys are prone to do, and we wound up on the discussion of disaster kids as characters. And both of us had openly used roleplay to explore evil, because neither of us inherently, the pop culture definition of sociopathy is they don't understand right and wrong. It's just those are rules that apply to somebody else. Both of us are sort of in the same boat. I understand that the psychologist in the room, that is the wrong definition, but for passable purposes, it was workable enough for us at the time.
Yeah.
And so the question always is evil seems to be a whole lot more easy a path to take. Why wouldn't you, in the modern world, just like the real world, just be evil? What's the catch? So both of us actively had role-played evil characters within various frameworks to figure out why. And the answer is that it is in fact true, if you look at the curve of history, as well as role-playing games in our fantasy stories, that the bad guy always loses. And so literally being the bad guy is the sucker play. You may get a generation, you may get two, but at the end of it, the good guys actually do always win. And so if you actually want real-world power, you're actually better off being the person who actively disengages those people. And it was just a really odd, strange realization. And I thought I was the weirdo, but it turned out, Nick was sort of in the same boat. We'd basically gone through the same process of evaluation early on. Go ahead.
I disagree. I disagree so much in Black. The bad guy doesn't always lose. Have you seen the people that are in charge of the world?
Yes.
They're not the good guys.
We're talking about in fantasy, right?
No, I'm talking about in general.
In general. And that's kind of why I go, that doesn't make sense to me.
Except if you take a look at, and I'm talking over generational scales, because to a tyrant, okay, a tyrant wants ultimately two things: power to give them security. If you take a look historically, okay, and so if you take a look in every valuable metric of the past 100 years, every visible minority is substantially ahead of where they were. I know that from a modern perspective on a 20-year timescale, it's hard to see that.
I don't think so, though.
It depends where you're starting from.
And it depends on what your metric is.
If your start is from colonization, then yes, I think I agree.
Yes, because I hate to be like this, and that's why I said within
the last 100 years.
Within the last 100 years.
Because it doesn't count if it's 200. We've gone over.
Well, actually, in Canada's 250 years old, so even if I back up 200 years, it still works. It's the 200, but again, it's the joke.
It's anything. It's colonization. That's the...
Yeah, post-colonization.
I mean, but all that says, though, is that white people are evil, though.
I don't disagree with you.
It just...
Like, I'm just going to say, I mean, I can come up with a list of other... I actually hate the term race of other skin because it's an inaccurate term. There's only one race, but but the problem is if you say phenotypal, everyone looks at you funny. Right, because a phenotype is a distinctive feature such as skin color.
Yeah.
Okay, so but if you start using phenotypes, then everyone gets all offended.
Race itself is a construct that was designed by white people. So
I agree with you.
So the problem is that you can't even go by phenotype because, like, what's the difference between, say, me and someone darker than me or someone lighter than, like, where do we demarcate the phenotypes at that point?
I agree with you.
Like,
and
even
that's
me
the
to
problem.
my sister is a freaking huge
difference. That's the reason I was staring in absolute blank horror at Twitter 2 weeks ago at the idea that there was someone who was a, quote, woman of color, and because they were substantially lighter than somebody else, somehow that was worth more points in whatever game they were playing.
I mean, it is, though, generally.
Oh, yeah, and again, that's a cultural issue that's completely a side effect of white hegemony. And that's the phrase I use, by the way. It's not race, it's hegemony. But no, I was just looking in absolute horror. No, I agree with you. But even if you back the truck up to pre-colonization and you just evaluate Europe, there's a lot of places where, I mean, when I was doing my research for solder diaries, molly houses, of course, is one of those things. As soon as you start looking into LGBTQ rights, you encounter molly houses. And molly houses are literally gay cosplay pubs.
Can we have those back, please?
And so, but the reason they were required was because actively cross-dressing was a criminal offense.
I see.
And
I don't want that bit back.
No, exactly. And, and now there is no need in England for a molly house. You can do you can dress as you please, you can be as you please. Right.
Yeah.
I
mean, no, but
within
in
the
theory,
scope of being
yeah. In practice, no. In theory, yeah.
Let me do it this way. If you put on a pair of jeans and walk down Piccadilly, you're not being arrested for it.
No, however, if I walk down Piccadilly in a fishnet suit, then I
Fair
am.
Enough. Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah, but fishnet suit isn't gender specific.
No, because I didn't make it gender specific. Because I'm not gender specific, so it doesn't. I'm not gonna put on a femme bodysuit. I'm gonna put on a bodysuit because that's
But my point was that the whole thing about the Molly House was a safe place for cross dressing and relationship engagement within the social framework, right?
Yeah. How did we end up here?
discussing the idea that I'm a closet horror story that experimented with evil as in a role playing game as a method.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
about,
experimenting with evil.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about Monster Hearts. Yeah.
Yes.
What you were talking about in terms of the good guys winning is like that Martin Luther King, the moral arc of the universe
yes.
is long but trends towards justice.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's close to what he said. That's not.
No, that is practically exactly what he said. And what I've concluded, initially when I read that, I thought he was a lunatic. That was my first reaction. The world was, because I grew up in the era of the Tonton Macoute and the Killing Fields. Okay, Papa Doc was still a guy. The Khmer Rouge were running loose. And so to me, Mao Zedong had only very just recently died in a cave somewhere. And everyone was in the opinion that Uncle Joe Stalin had died politely in his sleep. It turns out all of those statements, by the way, were wrong. But at the time, that was the world I grew up in, and I couldn't see why you wouldn't want to be Joe Stalin. Like, why wouldn't you want to be the tyrant in charge? That spares you from tyranny. Right? That was where I grew up.
What's really funny is I listen to that and I go, no, I do. But also I don't, because that sounds like so much work. Like, I already feel like I hold so much responsibility. I don't want to have to deal with more. Like, I'm running this stream is pushing me to the edges of my executive function right now. Like, I just don't know if...
Now you know how I was feeling at 7 o'clock in the morning every year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm with KJ on this one. Hashtag sloth life.
Hashtags, you know what? But going back to the evil situation, my general belief is that evil is... It's a perspective thing. At the end of the day, it's like, if you're on one side, you're good, or if you're on the other side, you're evil. Like, because people are trying to simplify something that is very complex, and it doesn't make sense. I mean, that's kind of what this game is. Like, it's.
Yeah, I mean, this is we stumbled into talking about alignment somehow.
Yeah, right.
And the general thing that D&D tries to do, at least in 5th edition, is that evil basically means selfish, and good means not that, selflessness, sort of.
Yeah.
A better way, the actual framework that most GMs I know who go with is that evil is defined as an absence of value of life. In other words, if shooting you is a perfectly acceptable solution to all of my problems, I'm evil. If shooting you is off the table, no matter how much of a problem you are, I'm good.
But that doesn't... That doesn't mean I can't torture you. Am I good if I haven't shot you and I've tortured you instead? Like, what? That's such a... That's stupid. I don't know.
I'm just going to say, and that becomes the problem, is that as soon, it's the old joke about, only a Sith deals in absolutes, which is itself an absolutism.
Yes.
And so you get into this one of those things, because my son and I are both on the autism spectrum disorder. And so when I grew up, of course, I sort of had to figure out how the world worked in a world that had no rules for me. So I had to write my own playbook. And one of those rules that is in my playbook is all generalizations are false, including this one. And as soon as you figure that out about the world, oddly enough, to an ADHD mind, or at least in my case and my son's case, a lot of things make more sense. Because we're both rules lawyers. So as soon as you give me an absolute rule, I immediately hold up the exception card and go, well, but it's just, no. You just accept that they're not laws, they're more like, guidelines.
Yeah, that's generically me.
Uh-huh.
Which is why Sam and I have had this discussion a number of times where Sam's like, no, I like to see the good in people. And I'm like, I don't have that luxury. That's a privilege, my friend.
Yes, it is.
It's a huge privilege to see the good in everyone. I don't have that. I don't have time for that. And we've
I'm
talked
just
about
gonna
that
say,
as well. But it's so fascinating.
It's funny
as
because my ex-partner was a person of color, and she was very much to like trying to see
Yeah.
the best in people, and I'm like, that seems so dangerous.
And the thing is, I used to.
Yeah.
But then you can't hold on to that forever
Yeah.
because
And
it gets too damaging after a while. So you have to
yeah.
stop.
Yeah, basically.
So
It's
I
like
wonder if she still does,
I'm just very cynical about it. Like
especially after
I
last year.
want to believe the best of people. Very fundamentally want to believe that
Yes.
people are inherently good. But there's just so much evidence to the contrary.
I simply believe that everyone is complicated
Yeah.
and everyone has things about which they will be good and things about which they will not be good. And if I accept that basic thing, from there, anything is possible, but I then look at like everything I know in psychology to go, okay, they did that thing. That says something about a value here. They did this with this thing. That says something about a value over here. What can I take from all of these things?
Yeah, my
And
personal
composite.
rule is that when it comes to human behavior, I'm a pessimist because I enjoy being wrong.
That's nice. I also like
And
being
that,
wrong.
yep, I have oft commented about that if more people proved me wrong, I would be a much happier person inherently.
My problem is I've trained myself into a situation where I rarely am about human behavior.
Yes, that.
And
Yeah,
there are times I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done
yeah.
that.
I actually looked at getting at doing a little bit of study into psychology, and then
Don't do
realized
it.
what kind of a I was just going to say, and realized what kind of a nightmare that would become for me.
Yeah.
It ranks right up there with reasons I haven't learned. I haven't extensively trained in any particular martial art, because I know what I can be like. No, I'm not doing that. That's just. I'll play with swords because people don't let me walk around with swords. If I.
I bought a sword a little while ago, but I'm waiting for classes.
Oh God, are you doing theater? Are you doing
No,
are doing?
I have it. I just keep it nearby for. It's
Well,
not even.
yes.
It's not even a. It's a. What's it called?
Oh, should I?
It's a
Get
shrine.
it.
There we go. Just because I've been wanting to learn because I did some medieval training back in
Mm-hmm.
the day,
Yep.
and then did some stage combat and did some uh, dagger and short sword and shield. But then
Wow.
didn't
Cool.
do anything more, and now I'm like,
Mhm.
but I want to because I saw Ryan the Last Dragon, and I want to do more martial arts again.
I
So
was just gonna say, interestingly enough, the other day, I don't know if it's because it's spring again. I was actually thinking about dragging my gear out and actually starting to get and using that as my weight program and my fitness program.
yeah,
Mhm.
and I have a large enough yard that I could probably just go around whacking stuff, but I'd rather do it with finesse. So I'm waiting for classes before I hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
We play games. Hang on.
Yes, we do.
It's been
Get us
24
there
minutes
before I
and
start talking about fencing. So.
yeah,
Mm.
well, I I also wish to fence.
Oh,
Um
that is literally what it is.
Yeah,
Spent
yeah,
three.
you were doing like historical fencing.
mm,
Yeah. Society for Creative Anachronism.
Yeah.
And so I did do some research on period styles. The problem is there is one consistent issue with all of them, which is that they're predicate. If you read any decent book on honorable quarrel or the art of defense, it's three-quarters of a book on either getting yourself into a fight getting yourself, talking yourself into a fight, talking yourself out of a fight, and then the last third or quarter of the book is a half dozen really good ways to get yourself stabbed.
Yes.
Yeah. That's about
My
right.
absolute favorite thing about self-defense is the first thing we're taught, like, before anything else, is knee him in the balls and run.
Yeah.
Scream. Knee him in the
how you
balls,
actually-
run, screaming. Just run screaming. Just run screaming. If you can't run screaming, knee him in the balls. If you can't knee him in the balls, here's a good throw. And then run.
I'm just going to say the one of the first martial arts instructors I dealt with said, okay, so how many of you here for urban self-defense? And a few people put their hands up. He says, okay, going to teach you the most critical move you will know. If you are attacked by a mugger, the first thing you do is reach into your back pocket, take your wallet out, throw it behind them, and then turn around and run away yelling, building on fire. Don't yell rape. Don't yell I'm being mugged.
No, because nobody
Don't run
cares.
around scream. No, if you yell building on fire and the wallet is behind the mugger, they have two choices. The person raising an alarm or the money they came for. They'll leave you alone. You guys can all go home now.
I mean, they shouldn't. They should stay for more training.
But that was literally, if you're here for urban defense, that's not what I'm teaching.
Right,
I've taught
right.
you everything you need to know about dealing with a mugger. Don't fight the mugger.
Yes.
Everybody else can stay and actually learn. And there was just this ripple of nervous giggling going on. Like, is he joking? Like, there's nothing in that wallet worth getting into a fight with a guy who desperately wants its contents. Okay, by definition, you're already losing. They're crazier than you are.
It's like Spider and a man in a mask.
Yep.
Yep.
He just wants to know what's under that mask, man.
Yeah.
Wants it real bad. See, most of the fight training I had, like I did fencing and stuff when I was a teenager, but then I did all this stage combat and then clown combat, and like now I can't take fight seriously at all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like,
Just gonna say I'm sort
like,
of clown
wait,
combat.
all my training is telling me to do something funny now, and that's
Yeah.
not nothing at all.
But the thing is, I have found the best way to get yourself out of a really dangerous situation is to make someone laugh, because then they can't hurt you because they're laughing, or they can't hurt you because they now have a value for you. You have a value to them, and therefore that's a psychological thing, though. That's not a physical thing. But if you make people laugh, they just stop.
Yeah.
Generally, what they're doing. And I'm always grateful.
Alright, what are we doing?
What
Okay.
are we doing? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's do. I like. So my thought was,
Yes.
obviously enough with Sam out for today, there is a limit on what we can actually do. I'm not interested in involving my soul in a town wrecking brawl with him not here.
Right.
So
We're going to be having a town wrecking brawl. I would rather we didn't. As a personal preference, I would actually prefer we not do that.
You see, and that's the part where it turns out that, you know, the reason forever GMs are forever GMs is we're all actually tyrants. So
now I understand. You are the person we must overthrow. I rolled already and I won.
Yeah.
We
We
talked
all
about
won.
this.
Yes, but I'm the tyrant, so I don't have to roll. I just
You're
declare
only a
myself
tyrant
victor.
as long as I accept you as a tyrant. That's how that works.
Careful, that's a slippery slope you're standing on. There's a whole thesis statement on that, and you don't want to get into a double doctorate.
Don't I?
Don't tell.
Of all the people you know, don't I? Don't I?
No, because I actually suspect you'd rather get back to the stage at some point. And by definition,
hello.
you doing another doctorate would be another 4 years.
Hi, I'm Chantel. I also did a full scale musical for 2 years.
Wow.
Yes, but you also admittedly didn't progress on your doctorate in that period.
I did for one of them, actually. The second one, no.
Yeah,
The second one I
remember
took a
that
break, to
second
be
year
fair.
being pretty spread thin.
The second year I took a break and wrote a play or two. Awkward, but also true. Yeah, it's also true.
All right. So cool to play if you folks are.
Yeah.
I think my theory is that as a minimum, it's a chance for a couple of good scenes with and some plot progression with Spider and Alexandre, right?
Yeah.
Who ultimately at this point are the core characters of the story. Mechanically, if you will, while I mean, yes, Sam Player is important right now, if you will. Yeah, Mycel is effectively is enlightened in PC status. He just simply hasn't been.
Hang on. Sorry.
Well,
There's a MEP in the
Sam just turned up in chat.
That was an awkward bit of timing, wasn't it? Hi, you've been demoted, Sam.
That is kind of like unnecessary, really.
My work here is done. How dare?
No, so yeah, like I say, so from a story perspective, we just haven't had enough time to get Mycel dug into the story in a way that that brought him in, brings him in par with Chevalier and Lucas. So from a storytelling perspective, I don't see a reason why we can't just have you two do a couple of scenes and sort out backstory or forward story in terms of hopes, dreams, and what have you. So why don't you push the button on the thing that does the thing, and why don't we do this for real?
Should we do the intro? Let's go. Let's do this.
Let's do that.
I guess. We have returned.
We have returned. All right. So yeah, now to the game part of our talk show part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have it as the 17th of Yggdrasil in the 217th year of the modern era. On a little place called Dasseldorf, which is a free city on the coast. And that begs the cunning question: what does if there were a camera to suddenly appear following along behind Alexandre, what would it see? As she walks through this free city.
Oh, it's daytime still.
According to
went
my
to bed and then woke up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, according to my notes, it's early morning.
We went to Alexandre wouldn't have gone to bed actually, so the camera would have been just hanging out in the room that she's in.
All right. Yeah, the catch is that you guys are all suffering, of course, from that bizarre bit of time snap where the Underwelt runs 12 hours offset to the daytime world. And so you guys arrived at what had become your late night, which was pre-dawn here.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So all of this has gone on in the early morning. I'm willing to say that, enough time has gone on. It may be just trending to late morning at this point, but it's not even lunchtime here yet. So there had been discussion about getting some sleep, but I think it had more to do with it getting everyone's clocks reset than it had to do with being sleepy.
Yeah. And I think because of that and because of last session, which was harrowing, I mean, busy. Harrowing.
Why would you say harrowing?
I mean, if Alexandri's doing anything when a camera just sort of pans in through an open bedroom door
Mm-hmm.
and ends up behind her, she's looking down into the city and seeing if she can hear clocks on anyone else that's just passing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she's doing.
I can't decide if it will be to her relief or her horror that she cannot. No roll required.
Oh. I think it's relief. I think it's relief. And then trying to hear it in her.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And again, there is not.
Starting to get to relief. Starting to feel that relief. That relief is good. Because I mean, it doesn't sound like fun wherever it is that Spider goes, and wherever Spider goes is always like horrible river stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
She has to go along for the ride, and she doesn't get it. She doesn't know why that's happening. Especially if it's like Spider's deal, like why she doesn't get that why does she have to do that?
Why does she keep getting wet? Yes.
Yeah. What's the deal with me being there if it's not mine? I shouldn't. Why is this my trauma now? Can you take it back? Is basically her thing. So after that, she might take a nap.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole lot of ticking.
Yep, there are 2 very loud tickings.
Yeah. So... Or she might try to nap, but it's not working. And so instead, she's going to spend time... She's going to spend the next 8 hours trying to make something. Which
Okay.
She's not sleep deprived yet.
No, that will be this time tomorrow.
Yes, it will. Yes. She will suffer. She will suffer, but that's tomorrow. And Alexandre...
That's future Alexandre's problem.
Which, as I said to someone today, I often assign future Chantel things to do, not realizing that future Chantel is also me. Alexandre's in the same boat.
Mm-hmm.
So Alexandre spends time thinking, oh, yeah, that's not a problem right now. That's a problem for later, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Right.
And so I would like to spend 8 hours casting a spell.
Okay.
Yeah.
8 hours casting a spell. All right, then.
Hours.
That probably adds up to about how long Spider's out of action, spending a few hours tattooing himself and then having a nap. So
Fair enough. All right. Yeah. No, I'm happy to basically time skip that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So let's just 1 second. I'm being incredibly fat fingered right now.
I don't know what that looks like. I think for...
So tell me about the spell.
The spell I would like to cast is animation.
Uh-huh.
Alexandre in the past has sort of temporarily summoned creatures from things that she has had in her environment or created previously.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, she's made birds and things out of leaves and things like that.
Right.
Animation is a permanent version of that, basically.
Okay.
I have put a new lot of points into creation, and so Alexandre can now create things that last forever. Or
Wow.
not forever, but are permanent until they die.
Mm-hmm.
So animation is you create a being of subhuman intelligence that persists indefinitely and autonomously.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a living creature, an undead fiend, a sentient construct, or any similar creation possessing lifelike properties.
Mm-hmm.
Examples of this boon in play include a necromancer creating an undead bodyguard, a mad scientist forging a superhuman being from body parts collected from a variety of corpses, and an engineer creating a cyborg from parts collected at a scrapyard.
Mm-hmm.
Where I've spoken to you about this.
Yes.
And we are going to use the modified rule that Great Moustache sent to me.
Yes, the 2.0 beta that we keep getting sneak peeks of.
Yeah. The one that says it's not a charm spell that's on them, but makes things a lot more specific in terms of I can't control the creature that I create. Newly animated beings. It'll look to
you're
me.
You're not creating a drone. You're not creating a second set of hands. You're creating an NPC.
Yes. And it might leave, and I'll just have to deal with that when that happens.
Yeah.
But that's also not something Alexandria's particularly worried about.
Well, having never done this before, she doesn't even know that's a thing. So
she doesn't really think about that at all. So yeah, that's what it is.
All right. So, thus you must make a roll and achieve a target power level, and this should be interesting.
Well, let's hope I get it. Hey.
Shout out, by the way, to Great Moustache while you are rolling them dice. It is deeply appreciated, the support and help you keep giving us. All the rule snippets and good ideas in the background. Thank you. You make this place better.
I rolled a nat 20.
Oh my gosh.
Hang on, I'm not done rolling.
A nat 20. Right then.
So, 27, 28, 34.
34. You are into a legendary outcome at that point.
Which is funny, 'cause she's only really trying to make a little Robin.
Yes. So, describe what your little Robin ought to look like.
What she's trying to create is a little Robin with rose petal feathers, stick legs and feet, a beak that she would have picked up little chips of stone to make the beak, and maybe gone out sometime in the morning to get little agates for eyes. Yeah, that's pretty much what she would have started with, and would have continued based on, like, would have drawn from other. It's natural.
Yes.
She has no idea if it will grow. Didn't think about that, but you know, I really should have thought about that. Given we were talking about like a plant that could destroy ecosystems last session. Alexandria needs to think about these things.
Details.
This Robin is not going to breed with like the underworld rose at all. It's fine. Yeah.
Right then. So, at the end of your 8 hours of exhaustive preparation and focus and summoning and channeling, I think you're going to initially consider that you failed, because your little animation, your little creature will get up and immediately fall over, and then it will get up and immediately fall over. It's the first time it falls over to the right, the second time it falls over to the left, and it stands up, wobbles back and forth, spins like a miniature hurricane, and then simultaneously falls left and right. Now you have two of them.
Oh.
And they both immediately begin squawking and chirping at you.
Oh. Do you eat? Oh no. Oh no. What do you eat?
Yeah, so there's an awful lot of squawking and chirping. Immediately, a vague attempt, which is to say, one of them backs as far up as it can get on the little table you're working on, runs forward, leaps, spreads its wings, and doesn't know what to do next, and plummets to the floor.
Oh, she's gonna try to catch that. I love how I was like, Because I know my reflexes are really fast because I am a klutz and I have to be fast.
So I was just going to say, so I think Alexandria extends her hands after the bird has passed. In the what is it doing moment.
She picks up the other one just to make sure.
So you now have two very squawky little birds, whose agate eyes are glitter and blink at you, which is to say the eyes themselves don't blink, they glow, and the intensity sometimes you think the blink reaction is the light in the eyes going on and off. But they dim or they... yeah.
I need to come up with names for you.
One of them starts immediately jumping up and down in your hand.
I mean, Alexandria's very happy, but also very tired. and is my soul? No, not is not where small child. Small child.
I'm just going to say it's 8 hours later. Oh, where'd the kid go? Uh-oh. One of them begins gnawing on your thumb, ineffectively.
Okay.
But it's still 2 chips of stone.
Yeah. Can still that's sharp. That's sharp. Mysel isn't here. She's gonna go knock on Spider's door.
Okay. Spider. It's about 8 hours later. You've got a fresh tattoo, or two. Tattoo or two. It's now early. Oh, I was just going to say late morning. We'll call it late afternoon by the time you're done your nap. And it was a perfectly good nap with an excellent dream and all of that until the sound of a lead hammer and 2 screaming trombones are being deployed against your bedroom door.
Hello?
Make that noise.
Spider? It doesn't sound... I'm just going to say, this is the waking up stage of the discussion where everything is completely which is completely disproportionate to the reality. So what we see is, one of them hanging off of Alexandria by the ear like a demented little earring, another one bouncing around in her ear going cheep 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 cheep, and then we hear it from in Spider's perspective, and her going knock 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 gently, and then from inside it's Spider with half an eye open. You're
That's about right. That's about right.
So carry on.
Yes, Alexandria. What is that noise?
What noise? What noise?
Is it? Just come in.
Okay. Is your door locked?
No. Oh, wait, hang on.
The trap-prone thief. Is your door locked? Yes, and booby trapped, but I'm asleep, so I can't tell you that.
Interestingly, I don't think it is locked. Because I think he was just so out of it. He tattooed himself, threw all of his bags against the door, and then just fell on the bed. But Yeah, he moves his bags out of the way and opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
I made birds.
Mm-hmm.
I made
Which
birds.
is to say, one of them is immediately dives from the earring position straight to the hanging off of Spider's nose position.
Don't. It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby. It's a baby.
Okay. You made birds. Why?
Why not?
They're very noisy.
No, they're not.
Do you have to look after them?
Yes. They're babies.
Are they gonna grow?
I hope so. I mean, humans grow.
What are they made out of?
Roses and twigs and stone.
Do you know any humans made out of roses and twigs and stone?
Not yet.
Fair enough.
Immediately bounces out of your hand, begins running back and forth across your shoulders. Currently in an argument with its sibling.
They're not very discreet, are they?
Well, they will be. Maybe. Well, I mean, I'm not very discreet.
They're coming with us, aren't they?
Yes.
Right.
But I thought, because you have, you are Spider, and then I can have little birds, and I know. Oh, hang on. I know how to speak to animals. I could just talk to them.
Squeak 'em, squeak 'em, squeak 'em, squeak 'em.
We go back to that.
We will always go back to that.
We go back to
It's either Squeak 'em or New York cab driver. You pick, lady.
because I can roll prescience to have telepathy with them.
Carry on then.
Okay. What's my prescience? 1D. Because why not? What is my prescience? Okay. 29. I'm rolling well. Why can't I roll like this when Chevalier is dying?
So, have you ever been in one of those chat rooms where there's always that noob who types in full caps and posts entire paragraphs at a time and figures that the 2,000 character limit in a Discord post is a tyranny?
Oh no, that's me.
Well, I'm just going to say, there's two of them right now in the chat bubble with you. The problem is they don't understand punctuation or spaces.
Okay.
Just don't know what the space bar is for. You think it has something to do with being hungry, but the problem is that neither of them really have words because they only showed up this morning, and so it's more like they're mashing at the keyboard in frustration and don't know punctuation or use this space bar for anything. But you think it has something to do with it being hungry.
I just want to communicate one thing and find out the answer to one thing, which is, what do you eat?
They don't know either.
They don't know either. Okay, good. Spider, eventually they could grow up and then be very good at spying. But they have to get through this. Is a difficult time, you know. They're young.
Are they very good at communicating what they've seen to you?
I mean, they're very good at communicating hunger. Right now, in my head.
What do they eat?
I didn't say they communicated what they eat. I said they communicated hunger.
Being hungry.
I also feel attacked by this as someone who is often asked, okay, but what do you want to eat? Food. Food.
Yes. The awkward problem when you go to the kitchen and you're hungry and all you can find is ingredients but not food.
Yes. Yes, where is the food, though?
I don't want ingredients. I want food.
I just want the food.
Okay. I could use something to eat too. Why don't we go get some porridge or something?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's gonna drop telepathy, because that's
Really noisy.
a lot. Are you okay?
Yeah, and it's just like rubbing in his chest. Yeah, just waking up, you know?
You disappeared yesterday. And, I mean, you disappear a lot. But,
Yeah, which time are we talking about? Sorry.
I mean, after you found out that there is some kind of a debt, and you're ticking, and
Oh yes, how could I forget? Right. Yep. Needed some rest. Personal time. I think I'm all right.
oh, you look like me when I say I'm all right.
Anxious? He breaks into a grin and laughs.
Oh, jokes. All of these jokes. Ah ha ha ha, jokes.
Oh gosh, that was brilliant.
Porridge?
Yeah, some food would be good. And then we should try and make some contacts in the city. Someone who can get us to Cliff Spider, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I have some ideas about who to talk to.
Okay. Who?
Just some old, not friends, colleagues.
In the city?
Maybe,
Is this one?
hopefully.
Do you know people in this city?
No is a very strong word. I have done business with people in this city before.
Are you talking about stealing again?
No. Smuggling.
I mean, that's stealing, but there is no difference. You're just stealing.
Well, no, I'm moving things that have been stolen.
So the transport of stolen
Like
goods.
you.
I'm sorry?
Oh, we smuggled you out of.
I wasn't stolen.
Well,
Was I stolen?
From a certain point of view.
Existential crisis over breakfast? Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm sure that my father thinks that Lucas was stolen.
Maybe?
It seems like your family aren't so into the oh, we're older than you, so therefore we decide everything you do and own your life.
No?
Well, okay.
I
Goody for you then.
I mean, that's a very specific thing to phrase.
I mean, you still needed to get out of the city
Yes.
without being seen on a
Yes.
and that's what we did. That's what I do. What I have done.
I didn't tell them.
Very lucrative, I assure you.
Okay, so let's get some breakfast and then meet your...
Yeah, I'm just not like entirely sure whether they owe me a favor or money, or if I owe them a favor or money, or both. Things got very complicated right before we left the capital.
In what way?
In the way that almost every member of my operation was either jailed or permanently injured.
What did you do?
It's not that we did anything specific. We were just going about our business. It's more about who we were doing business with and who we weren't doing business with.
Well, who were you doing business with and who were you not doing business with?
Well, you see, early on, maybe you could come inside so we could close the door.
Okay.
He's just like sort of pacing around the room, which is very unlike Spike.
Places birds on floor. Need names. Add to list.
Right. So early on in my career as a criminal mastermind,
I'm sorry.
That was another one of those jokes. I sort of fell into the role of being a smuggler. I knew enough people and we wanted to make enough money that it just made sense. Anyway, when you're starting in a line of business like that, sometimes the questions around like the ethical repercussions of what you may or may not be importing aren't necessarily at the forefront of your mind. And
what did you import?
Again, not so much about the what, but who and how. Who was involved? No, it wasn't people smuggling. It wasn't really. No, you know. We did some business with some people with connections in the Empire, which is maybe not like the wisest idea.
Of the Burning Lash? Is that what?
You know another empire?
No. I just wanted to...
Not the Giant Kin Empire, that's for certain.
Well, I never know, actually. But, you know.
Yeah, so there were people with connections to the Empire importing beasts for some sort of cage fighting thing. Anyway.
Beasts for... Okay.
Entertainment, you know. Watch the scary animals fight each other. They were very similar to those beasts we fought back in... no, I forgot. Now Jamie's forgotten the name of the other... Huh?
Glitter Delta Cove?
That's the one, yeah. Back in Glitter Delta, but smaller. No, like the ones we saw at the farmhouse.
Breezy
when we
Point
first
Bay.
met
Before.
Jennifer.
Yeah, first time you guys ran into Jennifer.
Both times, but more like the small ones, not the big ones.
You imported those.
Well, I didn't know that's what I was importing. I was just...
We had a whole discussion about chickens. And how you... stupid things happen.
Yeah.
Because you don't know what chickens are worth.
Yeah.
And you imported those things.
For the express purpose of fighting each other to death for other people's entertainment. Yes.
No
As
wonder
I said,
they
I
want
wasn't
us dead.
entirely proud of that episode in the life cycle of the web, but it got us a start. And I am proud to say that we discontinued our association with those people with their connections from the Empire. And they weren't so fond of the idea that we didn't want to do business with them anymore. And yeah. There was a run-in. We were working on another job. As I said, I know some people in the wonderful free city of Dusseldorf, vaguely. We were importing some art pieces or something, I don't know. It was all stolen shit. And it was a setup. Not the people from Dusseldorf, but the Wire Fists, who were the people from the Empire. They set us up. It was a fake contract. Anyway, it was a mess. My mate Treat lost a hand, and we pretty much had to scatter to the wind. And the Wire Fists pretty well paid with and connected with the constabulary, so it wasn't a good time. My best friend went to jail, and I still don't really know how it happened, because someone had to have tipped them off or something.
So, you want to talk to the people here?
As far as I can tell, they weren't the people that betrayed us. I could
How do
be
you
wrong.
know?
I don't.
It's a feeling.
Yeah. With how much the wife is new, they had to have someone closer than that. Because they didn't just know we were going to be at a certain place, they knew exactly who would be there, what kind of skills we had, all that kind of thing. It was rough. If it was the people from Dusseldorf who betrayed us, then I guess we're walking into a fight, but you know, vengeance shall be had and all that.
Or we run.
Oh, well, that was a joke.
Oh. Good.
I mean, yes, we could. If they tried to kill us, we should definitely run.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, Mysel, you can turn into a dragon, so maybe we don't have to.
Mysel's not
Mysel's
here.
not there.
Oh, he's not here at all. I thought he came.
No, absolutely gone. Like,
No,
he's disappeared.
I
was going to ask if you'd seen him, but
Oh,
I actually
it said, yeah. Spider says, well, Mysel could turn into a dragon if it was a big enough.
Actually, I think it's going to be really, really funny that Spider presumed Mysel was with Alexandri, and Alexandri presumed Mysel was with Spider, and
Yeah.
now you know, and Mysel, and you're both going, well, where's Mysel?
where's Mysel? Isn't he? I thought he was with you.
No, he's not with you.
I mean, I was a bit busy.
Making birds.
Do you know how much work this takes?
I wasn't.
They're
Hey,
independent.
that's
They have their own
very
lives to
impressive.
live.
Don't get me wrong. Very impressive. do we need to go look for him? I mean, he seems to know how to look after himself.
I mean, he found us once.
Yeah. I assume he'll find us.
But he's 12.
I mean, is he though?
Well, 12 or 1,000. It really depends on your point of view.
Yeah.
And he has a dragon.
And he's a psychic.
Oh, that's still creepy. So, and he has a talk. Oh, he has a talk.
What?
You have a tick. He has a talk. You. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
My soul. Talk. Tick.
Ah, right. I see. Yes. Of course. He has a talk.
Yes. It's very uncomfortable.
Interesting.
It's wrong. I don't like it. What are you looking like that for? The Tarantino tumblers can't make anything happen with that.
Indeed. Porridge?
Porridge, but you didn't explain the smugglers.
Oh. What did I need to explain?
Oh no, we're just going to go find them and hope that they don't just kill us. Or hand us over. Or is it they're not just working for your father anyway?
Well, I mean, they don't live inside the Confederacy. I don't think.
They know what you look like, and they know that there's a bounty.
Do they?
I mean, I assume they would, because...
I mean, we haven't seen any evidence of the bounty here in Dusseldorf. Just because my father has people here. Also...
I mean, I don't know what else we're going to do.
The thing is, yeah, where we're going, we might be able to potentially offer them something a little more lucrative than handing us in.
Like what? She gathers the robins.
No, not your birds. But again, they are very impressive. But a cut of whatever it is we're going to the plains to find. They're the kind of people who care about business, not about one-time payments.
So you want to sell your grandfather's ship, or bits of it?
Maybe. I mean, what I do want to do is find Lucas and find your song, and maybe bring Chevalier back. I didn't quite understand that bit of what Mysel said, but I'm down.
Well, I think that bit's easier, to be honest.
Okay.
You know.
It's gonna take resources, and I figure if we can get to Cliff Spider and start to set up our own operation there, these might be good people to have contact with. To sell on anything that of value that we're able to accrue.
Okay.
This is the kind of thing I'm good at. It's hard to explain when you haven't done it your whole life. But money will open a lot of doors for us.
Oh, I know that.
Right. So we need it.
Yes.
Good. Then we agree.
Yes?
Porridge then.
Porridge. Find out what's easy. If anything.
And I guess we make our way downstairs for breakfast. Late lunch.
Yeah,
Late
I was just going to say...
afternoon porridge.
Yeah, I was just going to say yes.
Is that moment where Spider like comes out into the hallway and he's like, "Oh, it's almost dusk."
You really want porridge, though.
I just thought the birds. All right.
Shall we take a break?
Yeah.
And then discuss porridge, which I now have an odd craving for. And no, I do not have.
Yeah. Okay. I'm good with it. Yeah. Quick break. And refill coffee cups and all the good stuff, and we will resume. I'm having fun with this, guys. By the way, thank you, guys and girls, and everybody else. So thank you very much. And yeah, so we'll be right back.
Oh, I pressed the button too fast. Sorry for live.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I got another cookie, so I'm good.
Your cookie disappears?
From Margaret Cooker.
It's a magic cookie. I have gin, some rice chips, and a dog who likes my rice chips. It's gone now. It was there. It's no longer there. Hi,
What, the rice chip or the dog?
Oh no, the dog's definitely there because there are more rice chips. You're a good boy. Stream dog.
Stream dog, yay! Yes, I'm. And I got one of my oddly enough favorite snacks, which is just Honey Nut Cheerios as a potato chip substitute.
Yeah, that's good.
I have hijacked my son's Twilight Sparkle oversized mug because it's excellent for hot chocolate.
Oh yes.
Do you have Nutrigrain in Canada?
Yes.
That's good stuff.
I like eating that just like as chips. Sweet.
Just
any
any
that's
cereal
a good idea, actually.
is a good snack.
Yeah, like I say, again, I'm just, mentally, just for the longest time, potato chips was just, if I'm gaming, I must have potato chips. So it's just, unfortunately, there's not much good in potato chips. And so I've just been trying to make a habit of, my chuck it in my mouth while gaming snack is trying to be cereal. All right. So I think the scene is going to open with what is initially going to look like a robin in a mud bath, and will pan outwards to be an artificial robin playing in Spider's bowl of porridge to a very horrified-looking Alexandri and Spider, as this thing is basically eyeballs, wings, and goo.
Just one of them? Just one.
Well, yes, you can't find the other one currently.
Hold on to this one.
I'm not touching it.
Just keep it. Just don't let it go anywhere. Don't let it go anywhere. Where are you? Come back.
At which point the tiefling head server who's going by says, "Are you looking for this?" Points at the top of his horn, which has got a robin hanging upside down off of it.
Yes. Thank you. I'm
No
sorry.
problem. Oh, it's quite all right. He wasn't hurting anything.
Thank you.
I mean, at least we know they can eat porridge.
Well, at least we know they can bath in it.
I didn't say it was eating porridge. I said it was splattering it all over the table.
Yes. That's a good point. I mean, it's made of plants. Maybe it wants fertilizer. I'm not saying that kind of fertilizer. I'm not saying manure. Give it what's that? Give it that.
Oh, that's mine.
Give it that.
Oh, mine.
Well, you'll know very quickly if it doesn't want it, and then you can have all of it. No, come on. Oh, cruelty to animals. Cruelty. Cruelty.
Cruelty to me.
Well, look. One day it could be the difference between life and death for both of us. And
All right.
you just refused it. Teeny tiny crumb. Look how small they are. They don't need much.
It can keep its fertilizer. I don't want any.
Alexandria is going to wander over to the buffet with the birds and see if they decide to try to eat anything.
Sure. So, and by buffet, it essentially is, a selection of stuff that doesn't mind being chilled or kept warm, but on a the French word's raclette, slab of granite with a bunch of tea lights under it. Essentially, there's a version of that. So yeah, there's a few things, stuff that's okay, kind of slightly more than warm, and there's another section which is mostly room temperature, and then there's a section which is mostly cold, which is to say, you can do some things with magic, but they essentially have a magic ice cube maker, and the candles are free kind of thing, so they can do some of that stuff. But so there's fruits, there's breads, cheeses, that sort of thing. What you are going to discover is that they adore scrambled eggs. Which is to say, one of them attempts to repeat the incident involving the porridge, only by swimming around in the bowl of scrambled egg while eating.
I mean, that works. Robins eat meat.
It's just going to procure it, but I'm just going to say, well, it works. It's just it's going to generate an awful lot of raised eyebrows when your robin goes swimming through the bowl of food.
I'll just take a scoop with the bird in it and put it in a bowl and take the bird back to the table.
Sure.
I'll also gather napkins. I figure I'm going to need a lot of napkins. I'll put extra napkins in my pockets.
Yeah, those will be required.
And I'll gather a jug of water also.
Yes.
Scrambled eggs. Spider?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how to cook?
I just got the porridge.
Do you know how to cook?
Well enough.
Do you know how to make scrambled eggs? I'm just asking.
Broadly
Like
implying that Alexandria
eggs.
doesn't.
Do you not know how to make scrambled eggs?
I have never needed to make scrambled eggs.
That tracks.
There are currently 2 robins who all you can see are tail feathers sticking out of the bowl of scrambled eggs.
We found some food. I don't want to know what's going on in their heads right now. They're loud. Just let them eat. So now you have porridge, and they have scrambled eggs.
He like pulls a leaf out of his mouth.
Yes. Sorry. So we're going to go find your people and not die. Okay.
Ideally.
Okay. How do we find them? Do they already know we're here? Is this one of those?
I doubt it. I hope. No. Probably not.
Okay. How
If
do
you are actually worried about the dying thing, we could always use...
Worried about the dying thing.
You could let me do your makeup.
But now I have 2 baby birds to look after.
You could also just use the veils again. They worked fine.
And they won't recognize me if they can't see me as me.
Correct.
No, but the birds, though, they have to be able to
Oh, you're worried about them.
I'm worried that the birds, if I put on whatever makeup you want me to put on, or the veils, or any other kind of disguise that looks awful, that maybe the birds won't recognize me and then they'll fly away,
That would be a terrible shame.
I'll put on the veils.
Okay, good. Well, looks like the Tarantino tumblers are back in town.
Okay.
All right then. So where are the tumblers heading off to then?
Yeah, I guess this is like, I'm invoking some stuff here. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Let me have a look at my character sheet.
That's an excellent plan.
Yeah, it's time to use my knowledge crime thing. How does that work?
Uh-huh.
Knowledge skills. When you take this feat, choose a sphere of knowledge, tier 1. Will make you succeed any action roll related. CR 16 or lower. For higher, your learning attribute is higher and you gain advantage. If you're learning this. Okay. So, yeah, I just I want to do the thiefy thing of like starting to ask around people in somewhat veiled language to try and work out where these people who I used to work with might be.
Was that
All
deliberate?
right, then.
Sorry?
Somewhat veiled language. Was that deliberate?
No, but good.
No, he's not that clever.
No.
I mean,
happened.
sorry.
Yes, you were.
Yeah,
right.
so I guess it's about, in terms of like the knowledge thing, it's about knowing who to ask and what questions to say and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'll roll.
So go for it.
Unless the challenge rating is 16 or below. In which case,
You're talking about an event that happened a few years ago from the opposite end of literally the opposite end of the
I was
chain.
doing business with months ago, not years.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep the timeline
But-
straight. Right, yeah, okay.
Like, I'd never met any of them personally. I know the name of their business, maybe the name of one of their fronts.
You know something, I think that, yeah, I mean, you've got, particularly at the point you've sort of got the front name and stuff like that, that basically, yeah, that it winds up challenging, which is only a 15, not heroic. So I think, you're going to be able to innate skills, knowledge of the underworld and, your own basic history, I mean, I think
Yeah,
makes
I
it
could probably
reasonable.
find the front, if nothing else.
Yes, exactly. Import-export businesses, and you're already in the merchant quarter, I think is perfectly reasonable. And you're literally staying, the whole point behind the scepter is that it is a place commonly frequented by business folk, and it is a common topic of business here, right? And so, you're able to, start by asking around the crystal scepter itself, and then that will net you a that kind of shop probably over on the east side. Go check over there. And so you sort of following the oh yeah, I think I heard about them. I think they just recently moved to a bigger digs just down the way. So then you sort of following the chain of referrals, as it were, right?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say no one wanted to admit direct knowledge, but everyone knowing how to get you closer to the place, right?
That's right. Do we have a map of Dusseldorf?
We do not have a map of Dusseldorf yet. Like I said, at the point you folks, the players had sort of expressed that you're just passing through.
Yeah,
it can be upwards of 12 hours for me to do a city map. So I've got a rough mental framework of what the place looks like.
Cool.
Like I said, it's a teardrop shape, with the point being towards the west, towards the waterfalls. The blunt end of the teardrop being to the east, which is also towards the original center of the town, the merchant districts and all that, because that's closest to the docks, right? And then the river running along the south edge of the teardrop, and then of course the ugly, messy industry being closest to the waterfalls, because that's the wind blowing inland plus the sound of the waterfalls kind of keeps all of that mess away from the town, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
And it is a city of 3 rings, and the innermost ring is essentially the expensive merchant district, which is where the crystal is. Yeah, the crystal scepter in. So you'll get referred to a place that's not quite down by the docks, which will refer you to a place which is a little bit closer to the docks, which will refer you to a place which is just outside the dock district. And I think with Spiders, I can't help but note is, on a natural overlook, the dock district is basically almost a full terrain contour down. And, sort of mentally from your perspective, of course there's not a staircase inside the building that goes straight down through that cliff and comes out at the bottom. Of course it doesn't work that way.
I love the idea that where we end up, Michelle, is because it's a front. It's just like some old fishing shack.
No, in fact, it's just the opposite. It's a very respectable-looking, expensive, recently painted import-export business. Where they're actually, you get there, and they're actually people who either are well paid to not know what's going on, or just actually don't know what's going on, as the actual nature of the place, in the process of doing warehouse-like stuff, loading up carts to ship stuff out to businesses. And at the same time, there's a couple of carts being unloaded for stuff to be taken down to the docks, warehoused temporarily, and then matched with incoming and outgoing ships, right? So at first glance, like I say, if anyone didn't know what they were already looking at, it would be entirely a legitimate-looking business. They've even got, nice gold paint in the lettering and stuff. Obviously doing very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, except that you know better.
Well, I mean, they're not doing well.
Just not for the reason
they just might not be doing good.
Yes.
So I guess my question is, I don't know if I have a name or if this is the bit where I'm a little out of my depth, where Spider might not be.
Yeah.
In terms of working out who to ask for or what to ask for, or...
Yeah. Just one sec here. Let me double check.
Maybe this is the right time for a roll.
Yeah. Actually, I just... Well, again... The problem becomes, I think the problem becomes is that the name you would know them by is unlikely to be a name that anyone would appreciate you using out loud, because almost guaranteed it's going to be somebody. It's probably going to be someone's nom de guerre, as it were, right?
Yeah.
And so you get into this, someone's going to get grumpy if you say that out loud.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, is like, usually someone like a reception or secretary or whatever, they're going to be more in the clue than any of the workers or whatever. And so I think it's one of those classic sort of like, well, I was referred to you, of course, by my friend.
Yes. And I'm just going to say, and I will paste them for you in chat so that you have it for your notes. If I can figure out which folder, there's the tab that's got the... That is the name. Bruxa tends to be the name you knew her by. The classic example of an absolute bastard child, half tiefling, half elf. Talk about a mess. Nasty disposition, absolutely addicted to throwing stars and strong liquor.
We could blame her.
Is this someone I met in person, or just someone I knew I was doing business with?
No, you met her in person, which is why you know all of these things.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I think that's the thing, is like, talking to...
Yeah, like I say, the full name, people she doesn't like know her as Shadowvend. People that she does business with know her as Bruxa. Her friends know her as Carmine.
Yeah.
You tended to know her as Bruxa.
Yeah, and I think that's the name that it dropped as Teddy Tarantino saying. My friend the Bruxa told me about some business in the capital, and we thought we might be able to organize a meeting. I do not know if she is in town.
I'm just going to say it's a sort of a sharp-browed, dark skin, kind of swimmer physique. A chap behind who's looking at you across the desk. Bruxa, huh? That's a funny name. Not many people asking for her. Not many people asking for him. I tell you what, I'm not sure if he's in his office. Give me a minute, would you?
No.
Explicitly, he should have been saying she.
Yeah. Is that like clearly trying to give me a signal that I shouldn't be talking about it, or is it that
I think
does it appear like he doesn't know what he's talking about?
I think that is the he's intentionally, again, because you have knowledge underworld automatic 16 low minus, you are aware that he's intentionally making a mistake to see how much you know.
Yeah.
It's an easy transposition. If all you have is a name, you don't know what Bruxa is, possibly, right? If you know her well enough to know that she's a she versus a he, then that tells him a little bit more about who you are and how fast and whether or not she should actually be in her office right now.
Yeah. So I think Spider, puts a hand on his shoulder and says, "Careful, friend. I am sure it was an honest mistake, but if she catches you saying something like that, you're likely to end up with a throwing star in your buttock."
He laughs. Oh, yeah. Twin. I keep confusing the two of them. I'll go up. I'll make sure. I'll find out if she's taking visitors. So he will go through a door, which audibly locks behind him as he goes through it.
I have names for them now. They have names.
Oh. Okay, yep.
One is Scramble and the other is Oat.
I bet I can guess which one is Oat.
You tried to eat part of Oat.
On purpose.
Yes.
Still have
all right.
The tarot cards that I gave you.
Yes? Yes?
If things go really badly, I'll ask you to do a tarot reading.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Okay.
This is what we call the signal.
I don't read tarot.
You're not actually going to do a tarot reading.
You know I'm bad at lying.
No, you are going to burn them with fire.
What?
If I ask you to do a tarot reading, things are bad.
So if you ask me to do a tarot reading, you want me to kill them?
Singe them a little at least.
Okay. Okay.
Good girl.
Oh dear, that's funny.
Covers the ears of both birds when doing that. They can't know. They can't know. They're in blissful ignorance of the fact that their mother is a murderer. They don't need to know.
Yay, mommy's evil!
No, not again. What?
A few minutes later, Bruxa will arrive in tow, well, not in tow, following along behind the, well, no, not really even following, more like leading from the rear position is the best way of explaining it from the fellow who you were just speaking to, and will look at you, bit of a tilt of the head, clearly trying to figure out, yeah, for lack of a better way of putting it, who just walked in name dropping. Yeah, pretty much as you recall her. A little bit better dressed. Obviously, the import-export business is doing well for her. And you know, something akin to a cigarette holder and cigarette hang. You know, in the offhand, she's going to take a slight puff of it and look at you. Who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
Yeah, an immediate hand to the chest, as if insulted. Miss Bruxa, perhaps you have forgotten our acquaintance in the capital. I certainly have not. I am Teddy Tarantino of the Tarantino Tumblers, and we met in the house of an eight-legged friend.
Okay, one sec while I try and... I'm going to actually give her odds of not catching the reference.
Yeah.
Just one sec.
I was about to be like, Alexandri's like, a spider? Oh.
Eight-legged friend, what's that to be? Oh.
Just roll learning, because I'm sure she... Or logic?
Mm-hmm.
Logic.
I think there's going to be... Yeah, there'll be a lofted eyebrow. Oh, yes, Terry, sorry. You've thinned a bit. I didn't recognize you right away. She clearly has no idea who you are.
Times.
But yes, of course, any friend of the arachnids are at least welcome here. Come in. Ludwig, I'm out for at least the next hour, but I trust you to run the place. Yes, Bam, of course. So through the locked door, into a side room, essentially a parlor. We'll throw a stick of wood into the modest little pot belly that's there, which has got a very low fire in it, but begins to crackle a little bit. There's a pot on top of something that's got a mulled, spicy smell in it that'll come up to a good tingle in just a few moments. Yeah, and um, there's a couple of comfortable chairs, a little table. There'll be a couple of moments, and she'll go over to a little side cabinet, take out a pre-prepared tray that's got some little noshies on it. This sort of crisps and bread bits and the sort of thing that are all slightly spiced or slightly salted enough that that you can just prep the tray on day 1, and on day 3 they're still edible. For obviously doesn't do a tremendous amount of going through this room, but enough that it's worth keeping a treat tray available, right? It's not like the Ebon Elves where they're basically doing a fresh batch of ganache every damn day.
If you can afford it, though.
Yeah. What can I do? What can I do for Mr. Tarantino?
Well, you see, it is not what you can do for me, but what I can do for you, my friend.
I'm used to people using that phrase just before they pull a knife.
Oh, well, no. I have no intention attempting any trickery with you. Your reputation is well earned, I hear. I apologize for the deceit below. We have not, in fact, met before.
I thought as much. On the other hand, Spider's a lovable enough nut. What can I do for you?
There is a snicker from Alexander. Just casual.
May I introduce my companion? She is rather shy, being a priestess of Atil. But she seems to have found her humor this morning. Just like elbow you in the ribs.
Ow! Don't do that. That hurts.
Our eight-legged friend, I do not know if you heard, fell on some rather hard business a few months ago. Well, that is life, eh? My companion and I, we have a venture interest on the plains up in Cliffspider. Could be quite lucrative, but we need some assistance in getting ourselves there, because I have not yet visited such luxurious quarters.
At this point, there's going to be a skeptical tilt of the head. You've never been there, and yet you have a lucrative business opportunity.
Indeed. I'm unable, of course, to disclose the particulars, but it is my belief that we may be able to find some hidden treasures up in the plains. Raises the eyebrow and a bit of the wink and the nod.
Well, hidden treasures are one of those things I specialize in, particularly the spending the money part of it. I think we can possibly help each other. Now, what exactly do you need from me?
I thought perhaps you might have someone who could guide us up the cliffs, or any contacts in Cliffspider that we might be able to set up some dealings with on your behalf.
A pipeline, then? Interesting. Actually, she wouldn't say pipeline, she'd say an aqueduct. An aqueduct, then? Yeah, I think we could arrange that.
Water always flows in one direction, yes?
I'm hoping you are providing a strong source. I hate building things that wind up dry.
It is speculative, certainly, but the plains are wide and open if you are able to traverse them. Which few are, I hear.
Suffice to say that the three, regardless of what they call themselves, the three empires are doing an excellent job of alienating everyone who might be an ally, yes.
I'm just trying to work out what the... Got the hook. I need to know what the punchline is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Is the punchline a small boy arriving?
Okay.
Just appearing out of absolutely nowhere.
I'm just going to say, walks, suddenly the door swings open.
Look through another door?
I was just going to say, no, actually the door opens, everyone looks, and then Mysel appears by your desk. Like, how did he get in here? Well, no one saw me.
Time.
All right, fantastic.
I'm just going to be doing
Yep,
some
I'm just going to say
shifties.
some camera flippies.
But feel free to continue.
So yeah. So I just think that's actually really, really funny. Just the idea that the door opens, everyone looks, there's no one there, and suddenly Mysel's standing over by the treat tray. He was to hide the part where the door had opened, and then he got distracted by the treats and ran over. Forgot to camouflage the door.
Sounds about right.
So,
For your benefit,
Yes.
Tarantino and the Veiled Priestess are currently doing a business deal with one of Spider's ex-associates to set up some sort of business venture in Cliff Spider.
I'm sure it's going really well.
Well, we hadn't rolled anything yet, so I feel like we're going okay.
I think the better way of putting it is Mysel walks in and has no idea that Spider and Alexandre are not Spider and Alexandre because he can't see.
Oh, that's fun. That's fun
he
and
can't see-
terrifying.
He can't see their costumes, so all he knows is
I
that.
mean, he'd see the intent.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I would just going to. Well, yeah, but I mean, like literally have it. So I'm going to, if you will, going to do a little bit of retconning and say that mechanically, okay, that is just really distracting. Sorry, I'm watching the camera explosions going on in the live stream.
There's nothing I can do about that right now, my friends.
Yeah, so what we're gonna have to do, just sidebar techie thing, is make up a version of this screen with only 3 slots on it.
I had one for last week, but it was only 2. So
Okay,
without having
yeah.
people in the call, I can't
Right.
have that. So that's why it
Sure.
doesn't exist. Also, I didn't think sound would be available at all, which is why it didn't exist. I would have just left it if I'd known.
Yeah.
There was
Neither
the
did Sam.
potential. Neither
Neither
did
did
Sam.
Sam.
That's okay. We fixed it for now.
Mysel is also Alexandre.
Thank you,
Everyone
JJ.
I
is
worked
Alexandre.
really well, KJ.
He just like
Everyone is
everyone's
Alexandre
in costume. They've got as other people. I'm going as Alexandre. She's cool.
That is the correct answer, in fact. You know,
That's awkward. Finds a box of tissues again, just in case. Sam's in the house. Everyone get ready to cry.
Where have you been? No stop. Oh God.
okay, let's just go with that. That works for now. I'm happy.
If it's working,
Yeah.
it's working.
It works.
Yeah,
Let's do that.
good enough.
Hey, Sam.
Good enough is good enough.
Good enough is good
So,
enough.
yeah. So, yes, Mysel and Harrow needed to have a long talk. And Harrow bluntly needed to stretch his wings, which is a little more complicated than he recalls because, things like cities. It's much easier to do a wing stretch in an underground cavern, do a little bit of dragon yoga. Framing majestically on a skyline. Oh shit, it's 1,000 years later. No, not doing that.
Like opening your curtain in the morning and just seeing your neighbor just naked and being like, nah.
Just one crazy hermit sitting on a rock goes, "Did you see that?"
Hermit is no longer a hermit. No. No, I did not.
It's like, how have you hidden for this long? Would you believe someone who said they've seen a dragon?
Crazy hermit crazy hermit level +1, yes.
Right.
So yeah,
Faisal walks in.
so I literally and then you decide you should probably go find your friends. It's been like 8 hours. Gosh knows what those two have gotten up to. And so go toddling back to the inn where everyone's staying, only to find that they're gone. But there's this very obvious stream of magical notes leading down the street. Actually, there are 2 streams of little magical notes leading down the street. So you figure, well, it's kind of odd. I'm not used to seeing those hanging in midair like that. So you followed them along. Nobody else seems to be noticing them, but they're very obviously going somewhere. And you know that Alexandre calls it the song, so it's probably a hint. So you go following the 2 streams of magical notes, which are doing loop-de-loops and, side-by-sides and periodically remaining at the exact same level and exact same meter for a short distance, i.e. riding off of somebody's head. And then eventually wind up making your way down and, to several spots where they just kind of stop and go around in circles for a little while, and then down to another street corner where they go in circles the other way for a little while, and then down to a set of public stairs, down to a very well-heeled looking business building. And almost immediately, hey kid, get lost. This is adults only. Out of here. Move along. So yeah, whatever. Poof, he stops seeing you. And since nobody was seeing you, and the sets and the musical notes clearly went inside the building, you figure, I'll just keep going anyway. So that led you through the spot, past the very, very grumpy guy at the front who was clearly telling somebody else, no, she's not taking visitors today. As you walked by, none of them saw the door open or close because you didn't want them to. And then, following the musical notes. Stroll into this parlor room, just a few little bit way down the street. And the musical notes are 2 little glowy robins, which you can clearly see doing, which are currently one of them is sitting on a chandelier up there, and the other one is currently picking at Alexandre's earring. And that's when you saw the treat table. And it's all kinds of salty and spicy treats. So naturally, you forgot the part where no one sees the door open. So yeah.
Were you? You just disappeared.
Actually, I'm more concerned about the part where he just appeared. She is.
Yes, sorry.
By the way, that's really scary murder lady, and she's not trustworthy.
Yes, sorry. About my son, Michael. Michael, I told you to wait outside.
But it's boring.
I love because I didn't do the action that was in that one. It was just carried.
And that's it. We're done. Thanks, folks. That's it for the stream for today. We only got 20 minutes left, and we're not going to recover in that time. So.
Right. You see, every tumbler needs tumblers. It's a family business.
Family business. What do you mean?
Brooks is going to be eyeing Little Appeared from Thin Air Boy suspiciously.
Can't blame her for that, really.
Entertainment, raises his hands, is a very good cover for business.
Uh-huh. I see. She chuckles. Crowd management, I presume.
Indeed. And of course, no one questions those who are merely here to perform for everybody's enjoyment and heartwarming appreciation.
Alexandra's focusing so hard. She's like, if I hear the word taro, I have to do a thing. So
now I want to drop it just to
she's
get
just
but
thinking so hard.
The priestess here does tarot readings. Not now, of course. Properly prepared.
Well, the best part about this, of course, is that Bruxy, as I say, straight up has it's described as nasty disposition. So yeah, we're all giggling. This is all hysterically funny, and she's standing there with this kind of "I want to murder something" expression on her face.
Yeah, and everyone else in the room is like, I don't want to be murdered right now.
So, all right. So, let's talk more general specifics, shall we? You need a way up the cliffs. You're not climbing the cliffs, not this year. She says. She has a sip of something Scotch-like.
Just this year?
Well, not by the end of this year, I suppose is a better way of putting it.
Why?
She gestures in the general direction of an open window through which you can kind of hear the sound of a waterfall. Most of the cliffs make that waterfall look trivial. It would be 100 kilometers, spending most of your time over 3,000 meters. If you haven't spent a life doing that, it'll kill you.
I don't want that.
So, we'll arrange for a flight.
Flight. Wonderful.
A flight?
Sadia, it's how most trade up there is done. It'll take me a few days to sort out. We've got a few bush pilots who owe me a favor, who are doing regular runs to and from Cliff Spider. Small package trade buried in the usual things that need to come and go from a city that can't own a firm.
How long does it take?
It's, about 8 hours from here. It's not the most comfortable ride, but it's much shorter than a year of trudging through snowfields and up vertical cliff faces.
I do like that. Why didn't we do that from home?
Nobody asked.
It would have been much faster.
I think it's a very safe nor common practice. Trying to work out in this moment whether Spider wants to drop the hint about who they are or not. Probably not. at this stage, just because we don't know how trustworthy they are.
Yeah, exactly.
And whilst the potential business we're talking about could be lucrative, just handing us in for a bounty is like 10 minutes work. So it's like...
Yeah. Yeah,
when I haven't given her like
issue,
any particulars of like... Yeah.
I was just going to say, yes, it doesn't matter how much money you could be worth. You know, there's a particular amount of money you are specifically worth.
Exactly.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Spider would go into some particulars that aren't that interesting to the camera, and I don't know what they would be. But in terms of like offering her exclusivity and first look at any goods that they come across that they're looking at.
Yeah, of course.
And there's obviously at some point like there's negotiations of like, well, if you offer me 30% of what the goods are worth, that's not like acceptable. There has to be some.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's fine. The business can be worked out when it becomes relevant.
Exactly. No, that's reasonable. I
think he would lean in the direction of giving her a good deal, though.
Yeah. Yes. If she's not winning, you know her well enough to know. If she doesn't think she's winning, is a better way of putting it, then she's going to be difficult to deal with.
Well, that's it. But I don't think Spider in this moment has the interest of even like getting one over on her. Like, not only do I want her to think she's getting a good deal, I want her to be getting a good deal.
Got it.
Not an exploitative one where we're going to be like destitute because of it, but like, yeah. You said if you're starting a new business, you want to put it on good foundations, and this is like our only opportunity for that. So
yeah, now it makes sense. All right. So, all right. You will wind up. So yeah, essentially, at some point, she's going to mention a Felixi, bush pilot, and I will post that name in the and this will hang on a second. Notes.
Alexandria would get bored during negotiations.
Sure.
May I roll for telepathy again?
Yeah, what are you trying to do?
Just try to persuade the one up in the chandelier to gently fly down. Because I'm safely underneath and could catch, so, you know, maybe that would be okay. Yeah, that's an 18. So that goes off.
Okay.
Still screaming?
Now that
they're still screaming.
No. A better way of putting it is that the screaming has subsided now that they're not literally starving to death from creation.
Okay, cool.
But they still haven't figured out how to use the space bar either.
Alright, cool. Okay.
And so yeah, so for lack of a better way of putting
You're
it,
literally just on Twitter right now. It's a litany of...
This is... it's just my life, but, like, in-game also.
Just, like, straight thought to speech.
Yeah.
Text to speech. This is thought to speech.
So...
yeah, so...
She'll sit in there, and once she's managed to persuade them to come down, she will try with the remaining time to teach them how to use a spacebar. That's the goal.
That is the goal. I have some bad news.
Why does your bad news involve a faulty spacebar?
No, it's more along the lines that every time you use your spacebar, they take that as a cue to speak. Which is making this process far more awkward than it ought to be.
Alexandra goes the other way and removes her spacebar.
So it kind of involves, it's like being at a family reunion where the two youngest siblings haven't seen you or the two youngest cousins who are 5 and 6 respectively, whose favorite word is why and no, haven't seen you in 9 months and want to explain that incredibly complicated thing that happened in the schoolyard to you 6 months ago, but they can't also remember all the details, but they don't want to stop talking just in case they forget the story they're telling, and then the other one wants to keep breaking in to remind them of parts they forgot.
Why is this such a universal experience?
Why is this so specific? So many years of preschool care. So many years of knowing children without space. So many years of knowing adults without a space bar. So many years of just being me. It's all led to this very particular experience that I am intimately aware of.
You're welcome.
Welcome to motherhood.
Yes, that.
Good times. Good times. Twins, no less.
Chanson has reminded me that we're playing a game that has mechanics and things that I can do. I ought to, in this moment, as we're wrapping up negotiations, invoke my silver tongue. And
sure.
Once per session, when I converse with an intelligent creature for at least 5 minutes, I learn a useful secret of the GM's choosing about the creature.
Sure. They know who betrayed you.
Yeah.
A few of the questions asked are quite obviously probing if you know where Spider is. Or when was the last time you talked to them? How are they doing? Et cetera, et cetera. I mean, they're not in plain language, but that's very obviously what's been meant. And over that time, it's very obvious. There's two things which are very obvious. She knows who betrayed Spider, and she's aware that there's a bounty on Spider's head.
Yeah, and I think it's easy enough to pass off that because we're now in Dusseldorf, like we couldn't have possibly been there when that happened in the capital,
right?
Because we came the long way here to Dusseldorf. We didn't get.
Yeah, nobody looking like Spider or someone pretending to be Spider has rolled in on a ship.
Yeah, well, that's it. But no, I mean, we, the Tarantino tumblers, took a much longer route, and so we haven't been in the capital for, months and months.
Yeah, well, and I mean, the tumblers, the last place the tumblers were ostensibly seen was that little, was Breezy Point Bay. Yeah. And then literally dropped off the map. No ships were seen, as it were. In fact, the last thing that was seen of the tumblers was them getting on a ship for Glitter Delta Cove. Apparently, there's some foolishness that went on in Glitter Delta Cove, but nothing involving the tumblers. And then no ship left Glitter Delta Cove involving the tumblers. Mm. Right? And so, unless
it would take a long time to put together all the information that could implicate because the Edgewaters were seen in Glitter Delta Cove, but it would take time to put all that information together.
Well, yes, and then there's the whole bit that you have to understand, that you have to know enough about the Ebon Elves to know how they come and go from the surface world. They go out of their way to hide their elevator systems in industrial districts and operate them at ridiculously off hours, where the sound of heavy machinery running at 2 o'clock in the morning is either completely irrelevant or completely unremarkable, right? And so unless you're quote in the know, how the hell did you folks get here?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
You know, we must have been on a ship at some point, obviously. Cough, cough.
But suffice to say that somebody's intelligence agency is going to be scratching their frigging heads.
That's right. Yeah, cool. That's Later's problem.
Mm-hmm.
Spider really wants to, you know, burn everything in a fire and work that out, but if Lucas wasn't missing, this could go a very different way.
There's only one word he has to say,
I
and
know.
pretty much nothing would happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, were it not for Lucas missing, Spider would be interested in some tarot reading right now. Regardless.
Did you say tarot?
I didn't say anything!
You said
Jamie said tarot.
oh,
Don't listen to the people up there.
I'm a little concerned by the things you're asking me to do.
Pay no attention to the
Mysel.
man behind the curtain.
Yes, Mysel. So yes, so your friends are obviously attempting to conceal themselves. I mean, that's again, they're, you know, you can't see their disguises, but they're obviously, you know, the introduction given to you, you're not, you know, Mysel is anything but stupid. Yeah, has been around, you know, that block enough time to constitute a marathon. Yeah, so while you may be slightly puzzled as to exactly what's going on, at the same time, the generalities are familiar. The thing that's vaguely, like I say, is that is immediately obvious is that whoever they're talking to is completely untrustworthy and is a raving and is a murdering lunatic.
You had mentioned how she was sort of asking after Spider, but in like a kind of like a roundabout way. Is it obvious that she's asking after Spider, but like not necessarily as to why?
They're not actually even using Spider's name. They're discussing the House of Arachnidae, or, you know, the Arachnidae shipping agency in Shining Capital.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It was probably
so,
like the web rather than.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you know, House Arachnidae's web shipping organization.
Yeah,
you know, these very obtuse sidebar references. I don't think Mysel has heard any of these terms used by Spider, but at the same token, they're all Spider references, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's obvious to you that, well, you know, Jasper/Spider is finding some value in that conversation, and I think you can tell by the vague lift of an eyebrow at one point that he's obviously reading something in the conversation, but I'm not sure Mysel would have an immediate reason to plug in on that.
Yeah. I'm just thinking whether he'd try and pry some information of his own. You know what? Why not? At least I'll get to roll something.
It's not. I'm just gonna say it's not a good gaming system. A gaming session unless you roll dice.
Yeah, sure. That's not all true, but sure. Let's go with it.
So let's see those double ones and set off every alarm in the building.
Yes. I've got terrible news for you.
Oh no.
The open-ended.
The roll was fine.
Yeah.
unless her resolve is like 28 or above.
No. I mean, she's mentally a tough nut to crack, but she's not above 20.
Yeah. So I'm using Mind Dredge.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That sounds safe.
that sounds messy.
Yeah, it's a fun way of wording it, I guess.
Yeah.
So at my power level, I can target creatures of any intelligence, and I gain access to the target's current thoughts as well as recent memories. But only by recent, I can only go a day into the past.
Okay.
I could keep digging to go further back, but I'm not particularly interested in that.
Yep.
I'm more like, given the current conversation, it is clear there is something going down, and that she's probably that she's sort of dancing around, and that's more what I'm.
Yeah. Okay, that's a really good roll. It's 15, 23. Yep, that's good enough. So, okay, what she's thinking right now is that she's vaguely untrustworthy of these two that have just strolled into her office, name dropping about Spider. But it has more to do not with the long past, but with yesterday's memory, which is, do you remember I commented that you had that vision of Cedric Edgewater screaming at three individuals?
Got a vague memory of something like that happening.
Yeah, and I had commented that they were all dressed in, very sharp-looking, almost Italian Renaissance, the long doublets, quote, the musketeer tunics, right? Only they were done in gold and green. Well, there's two of them and somebody else in a completely black I hate you outfit standing in her office asking pointed questions about if she's seen Spider. You only get a flash moment of it as she remembers, and there's obviously an awful lot of tension in the room. She is very aware in this moment that right behind the bookcase, she's got two guys she can snap a finger and they will come through and start shooting, but she's also not entirely convinced that that's going to get her anywhere.
Now, Mysel saw...
By the way, there's two guys behind the bookcase.
I picked up on that.
It's okay, my Robins will take care of it.
Oh, that's
particularly if you splatter them, give them earrings and splatter them in oatmeal.
You got scrambled eggs? They got this.
Mysel saw the bodyguard. That is he one of those people?
No.
Okay.
No.
All good.
You don't recognize the faces, you recognize the clothing.
Yeah. Cool. Good to know.
All right.
I kind of just, and metaphorically, I guess, sneak out again.
Yes.
Don't want to hang around too long.
So, yeah. So,
I feel like there's too much of a golden opportunity here not to drop false information.
Okay, now would he drop false information because of what he's found out, or because what Sam just found out? He said side-eyeing the player suspiciously.
No, that's make a good point. I think what the default is would be to just be like, obviously I don't know where Spider is. I just know they've fallen on hard times. I've seen the bounties, whatever.
Yeah.
And I hope you won't hold that against me, because I'm obviously an upstanding citizen. We just have a mutual acquaintance, and he mentioned your name. Should I ever make it to Dusseldorf? But once... It's more to do with the other piece of information, that she knows who betrayed Spider. I wonder whether it becomes pertinent to drop something falsifying. Maybe not at this point. Maybe once I've got Sam's information as well, we could talk about maybe dropping it somewhere.
Okay. So I think it's reasonable that after about 20 minutes of you two going back and forth, the birds being pests, Mysel clearing off half the treat table, it's time for you folks to, at that point, there's really nothing left to talk about. You folks are on your way back are walking back from the exchange district back towards the merchant guild district. What are you all talking about as you make your way along through the city streets?
So this one is called Scramble, and the other one is called Oat, and they like
Hello,
scrambled eggs.
Scramble. Hello, Oat.
They like eggs to eat.
They like oats to bathe in.
Yes. It sort of makes sense when you think about it.
What kind of sense does it make?
Well, I mean, oats are a natural ingredient, and it softens skin. You bathe in oats if you want to have very nice soft skin. And they have feathers that are made of rose petals, so they have to stay nice and soft. And robins or a lot of birds eat either other birds or they eat meat, and so it makes a lot of sense to me.
I see.
They don't have.
Okay.
They don't stop. So if you start talking to them, they don't stop.
There's much danger of them starting to talk to us.
Oh.
No, says one of them. No, that didn't happen. I just thought you funny.
Yeah, mice will probably can too, but
Yeah. My sort of pauses, looks at one of them, and be like, "Oh yeah, no, I see what you mean."
Yeah, they talk a lot.
It's the way I described it is they do not know what a space bar and a chat channel is.
Yes, it's not they talk a lot. It's that they don't know where words end and where words start.
Reading a really long hashtag.
With no capitals.
Oh.
like
Therapist 8? So we're going to get an airship?
Apparently, something like
That was easy.
Well, like I said, Bruxa likes to do business.
I'm very
However,
tired.
you will need to keep wearing the veils if you want to go outside. I know that it's not fun, Alexandri, but Bruxa knows something about what happened to me back in the capital.
What do you mean know something about what happened? What's happened to you? It didn't happen to me.
Yeah, but you are on the same wanted poster as I am.
That one. Yes.
I mean, we have access to flight if we needed it.
Flight. Oh. But you don't know where we're going. And
You'd still be there.
I don't know where we're going. Because we're not going where the song wants me to go. We're going somewhere else. I only know one way.
I really hadn't considered that.
But also, nobody...
That awkward moment when you find out you have a dragon in your party.
But also...
But it's also like, and there's sheer cliffs. The dragon has climb.
But also... Do we really want to be, flying into Cliff Spider on a magical big dragon, that hasn't existed for millennia? You said you've been hiding.
I mean, we could land somewhere else, Alexander. It's not...
Okay, well, out you fold. Let's go.
No, don't...
Why are we waiting?
Because this is good business. We talked
What
about
the
this
hell
before.
difference does that make?
We need money.
But we're going to give her money anyway, aren't we? You're just going to sell her everything from the airship.
No, I'm not going to sell her everything from the airship. That would be very dangerous, but also foolish.
Well, I mean, that's why I was confused when you said you were going to do it.
I will sell things that are safe to sell.
How do you know it's safe to sell? Do you know about airships?
No, but I feel like if it's really dangerous, I'll work it out.
What, by it killing you?
Not that kind of dangerous. I mean, the kind of dangerous that destroys cities, not people.
What, like dragons?
Yeah, funnily enough.
One time.
You sneeze
Destroy one
once and you never.
civilization, one time.
Sneeze once at a party and you never.
You
Just
tweeted
one.
rude things about me.
But
Yes, she will also be making money, but we will be making money also. That's how business works.
are you planning on going back to Channing Capital? Ever?
Yes.
Okay. Because you don't talk like you're going to.
Oh no, I'm very much going to. But I need to be safe before I do.
How are you going to be safe before you do?
Hopefully by being very rich.
Oh. So that's why you and Lucas left in the first place? To get really rich?
That's why I left.
Why did Lucas leave?
A misguided sense of adventure.
So he deserted the army out of a misguided. He deserted the army out of a misguided sense of adventure.
It's a little more complicated than that.
Everyone says that.
I mean, I'm sure you've met officers of elite before. Dashing men and women, the shiny armor.
Yes, I've met that. Yeah.
Well, Lucas was going to be one.
Oh.
And things got complicated. The leg, it doesn't always work the way it's meant to. And like Spider's very clearly uncomfortable.
So he was looking for a way to fix it, or he just gave up?
I don't know, but they wouldn't take him, and he needed a break from all of that, and I needed to get out of the city, and I knew that if I told him we could follow in my grandfather's footsteps, that he would come. So I lied, but it turns out I was telling the truth.
How did you lie?
Well, I told him we were going to find Lucas Sr., which I thought was a lie, but
Lucas would have thought you were so smart. Oh, shit.
Is there anyone you don't lie to?
why?
What? Why? What?
Why would I not lie to somebody?
Because that's bad to
I
lie?
wasn't hurting him. I was giving him what he wanted.
You told him to desert the army and go with you to
Not-
find the ones that you didn't believe was alive. Isn't that bad?
It's not. He's not technically a deserter.
I mean, there's a bounty out for him.
Huh. Yeah, but that's not. If Our father didn't want there to be a bounty for him. There wouldn't be a bounty. It's not about the desertion of the army. It's about
You don't
the
know.
desertion. Well, true. We always talked as kids about having this adventure together. And I think Lucas wanted it a lot more than he wanted to be in the army. And after everything that I lost back in the capital, I wanted to make a lot of money.
So you want to be a treasurer too?
Maybe.
Suddenly this stream involves a lot of violence.
Oh, you just came to the throat with the like, oh, so you are your father's child.
You know.
Ow.
Just saying. There's a reason Alexandri thinks all Edgewaters are the same.
My father likes to play with other people's money, and I want to play with my own.
That you stole
Yeah, I guess.
or
so.
smuggled. Which
That
isn't
I
stealing
earned.
because you're taking monies that was already stolen. So you could just smuggle the treasury of the Progress Confederacy, take it to the Empire of the Burning Lash, and then it's your money because you smuggled it, you didn't steal it.
Sure.
Did you just describe large-scale embezzlement? Did Alexandra just come up with like an offshore bank account? Slime's just like, no, that's...
It's actually a very
Wait.
good idea.
But you shouldn't do it because it's lying. It's not
Alexandri,
yours.
criminal mastermind.
You gotta know what's bad in order to not do that thing.
Do you think that the Confederacy does good?
I think it tries to.
But does it?
No.
Could it?
I don't know. Maybe? I don't know.
Not as it is, I don't think.
No.
But it has the resources.
It has resources.
Lucas is an idiot, but he's a very good person.
Okay.
If the right people were the ones in charge of the resources, the Confederacy could do good.
Well, that depends.
Well, that's what I'm betting on.
Because you say Lucas is good, and that with the right people in charge, good things would happen. But we saw a vision in which Lucas is not good. Or maybe Lucas is not good, but something isn't right. And so that means that it's possible that whoever is in charge of the Progress Confederacy now is good, but it's just going badly.
No, I know my father. He's not a good person.
He's really not.
Thanks, I think.
No, he's not. But
And while he's not exclusively in charge of the Confederacy, he's in charge of the money.
what if he was good? Once. A long time ago.
And he missed his shot.
And now he's bad. So
I
you
guess
put
so.
Lucas in charge, and then what? He becomes bad?
I mean, I hope not.
I don't know.
Do you think we did a good thing when we helped the lizard folk in Crazy Point Bay?
I don't know. Because now I think that Aquidian was going to use the weapons to do what you want to do, which is to stop the Progress Confederacy in Glitter Delta Cove. But it couldn't happen now because we ruined the foundry. But we had to.
Because people were starving.
Because people were starving. So
I don't
know.
I don't think anyone should have to starve when there is that much money in the Confederacy.
But they don't need money, they need food.
You don't get to claim that you're doing good if to do so you had to do a lot of evil.
If I eat food, or if I offer Scramble some eggs, a bird had to die for Scramble to eat.
I don't think you know where eggs come from.
Well, a bird is not born because Scramble had to eat.
That's also not exactly how it works.
Really looking forward to when a 12-year-old explains fertilization, but that's...
God! That talk.
It's a literal birds and, well, add bees in, why not?
Yeah.
I was just going to say what most people don't appreciate is that in any fantasy medieval society, by definition, almost all of the eggs would have been fertilized. So Alexandria is in fact exactly right. It's only modern egg production where there is no rooster because of battery birds, where that's not the case. But in any pseudo-medieval, right up until the early 1900s, any yard that there's no such thing as keeping a rooster off of a hen. So if you have a rooster as a defensive bird, which is what roosters are for, in fact, they're the sacrificial bird to the fox, then all of the eggs have been fertilized. They just don't last to the development stage.
Right. The more you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make that button. So, I don't know what's good or bad. And I've been wanting to ask La Chanson for a long time whether or not it's good or bad. But I don't think there's good or bad, so how am I supposed to... It's not a helpful question.
It's better to think not in such binary terms, but more like what your outcome was and what you had to do to get it.
Mm-hmm. Well.
And what your options were at the time.
Well. For me, I didn't sleep. I made birds.
Hours. Why did you not sleep?
I couldn't sleep. You were ticking. And you were talking. So I did something else to just take my mind off of all of the Nobody else does it, by the way. Nobody else, just you.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
I don't do it.
Well, you're not being influenced by magic affecting time.
Being influenced by magic?
Not that's magic that's affecting time, or at least your life as it stretches out ahead and behind you.
My grandmother went that way. I'm going that way.
I know.
Whisper of the Wild.
Sure.
Bad time.
KJ, get your Kleenex.
Oh, I hope not. Oh my goodness. Are you going to ask me to do the same thing you asked Romer to do?
Yes.
Was that stupid, though? Why would I say anything different? She's just saying this out loud. Why would I say anything different? That is a stupid thing. If I know that my grandmother said no, why would I say...
Don't talk to Meisel that way. He's a very...
Love it.
I don't want to go anywhere. But I know we have to. I know we have to, but I don't want to. I'm starting to not like being pushed. And I feel pushed, I don't... I feel pushed, not called.
Then plant your feet.
Sorry, go ahead.
Then plant your feet. Don't let them push you, make them call you.
How long were you a teenager, Meisel?
Just very grim. Just like, I don't think that's how he actually answers, but I just imagine this very grim expression, just like, I went through puberty backwards. And forwards. It took centuries. But, I have trouble keeping track in general, but a while. Like, I've been 12 for a while now.
300 years.
Okay.
You said since the war.
Like 300, wouldn't it? Not 800.
That's what I said.
300.
Oh, I thought you said 800. He was just like, sure.
I can't believe someone had to spend 300 years like this. It just keeps walking.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'm just going to say into the category of cruel and unusual, huh?
probably by this point, it's also he's like nice little. He's not being like down or anything, but he has been, I guess, slightly subdued, as opposed, or at its points, like the cheerfulness has a very slight edge of being like slightly more manufactured, slightly more forced, but not completely, but like just like he's just a little off.
Where did you go?
Michelle would like to ask the general question: if anyone, what Alexandre's resolve is.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
20.
20. Okay. You are going to get that hackles on the back of your neck, someone staring at you sensation that you got in the cave back when you had first gone down the elevator, just after you and your companions had reached the underbelt. Someone is attempting to scry your location.
Does the 17 get the same?
The roll was 16 plus 2, which is probably the worst. I literally rolled boxcars on the 2d6, so that's an 18.
Yeah, I think you have to. It's only if it's.
Yeah. But it's specifically, like I say, it was targeting Alexandre.
Yeah.
Alexandre grabs.
I think
Spider.
anyone in the area that has a high resolve can notice it.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
She grabs Spider.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is watching again, or trying to. I didn't hear that.
Can they see us now?
I don't think so.
When she says that, can I try and use detection?
Sure. What do you think detection would do under these circumstances?
Just notice the magic, partly.
Sure.
But I don't know if it would be able to, but like essentially, what would be great is essentially tracking it back.
Sure. Roll well and we'll talk.
Sure. Well, I rolled a 21.
That is well. Hang on a second. I'm just seeing. There we go. No, that's not it. Hang on. Not precog. It's never the name that I think it should be under, and so I always have a trouble finding the damn ability.
Which one?
True Sight or whatever this game calls it.
I think it's a boon?
Yeah, it's not seeing.
True Sight.
True sight, is it?
Why am I not seeing it? Oh, for God's sakes, yeah, okay. Yep, found it, thank you. Okay. No, True Sight is not the one. That is the ability to pierce illusion. There's another one which literally amounts to the ability to
detection.
See at distance, essentially. Scrying, clairvoyance.
That is scrying. That is.
Okay.
I think that is called scrying.
Spying. No, it's
spying.
spying. Yeah.
Okay. No, just wanted to double check the text for it. I could not find it. Seeing sustenance summon. Yeah, that's odd. This copy of the book doesn't. Okay, I can't find it. Anyway, I just wanted to double check the actual roll effect. Missed roll effect was. I think what happened. Yeah.
I can look at it on hero thing. What part? What were you after?
Well, just specifically what happens. Okay, so they rolled less than the target's resolve. So I know the target is immediately aware of the attempt. The question is if it works or not anyway.
No. It's So anyone in the targeted area who has resolved defense score higher than your presence action roll to invoke the Bane becomes aware of an unseen presence in the area, regardless of whether or not you succeed at the roll.
Okay.
So if someone else here had a higher resolve than Alexandre, and they beat Alexandre, they would see it, but Alexandre wouldn't.
Okay.
If they don't beat Alexandre, everyone who is higher knows it happened, but they don't get to.
That is what I thought.
In.
I thought that is what I remembered, but I just wanted to be sure of it. Okay, so yes. So because the attempt failed, there's no. I just wanted using that as a way of defining the relative difficulty. Essentially, you're not chasing an active. You're not tracing an active call. You're chasing an echo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
And you roll 22. You said.
21.
21. Okay. You are going to be aware that the attempt did not originate on this plane.
Oh, that's so bad. But was like, if I can trace it back, maybe I can follow it with my own spying. But that's out of my that's above my pay grade.
Monster goes, dead.
He's just like,
oh dear.
I just work here.
It's my first day.
I know this will probably be useless, but I might as well do it, given what time it is. I will invoke my other feat, the observant feat, which is that my keen senses allow me to notice details that others miss. Once per game session, I can use this ability to notice anything out of the ordinary. I guess I want to know if there's anything out of the ordinary about where we are, or whether there's anything about it which would indicate, like, why now.
Well, you're being followed, but that guy's been following Meisel for a while.
Aha. Yeah, I think I'm in place, and we are also being followed, and I thought it might have been one of Brux's people, but I think Meisel, they're following you.
Am I able to notice this person now that they're being pointed out?
Sure. Perception check, please. And I think we're going to answer that question, and that will be where we wrap.
21.
21. Yep. Meisel has sort of other ways of seeing that kind of block out a lot of the background noise, if you will. And so, mentally, he basically turns it's sort of the 360 mental scan of the crowd. And there is a tiefling with a particular hobble and a walking stick who's been kind of panhandling his way along, and it hadn't really, because of course you can't see per se, you haven't noticed the tiefling has been there in every scene, for lack of a better way of putting it, somewhere in the background, right? And there are a fair amount of tieflings in this city anyway. You're on a shipping lane to the burning lash. And so there's going to be this, but it just suddenly you're very aware that the tiefling panhandler is in fact a member of the Verdant Guard in disguise.
Is it the same one as before, or
no, different fella?
Different fella, fun.
Yeah, and that will be where we leave it for this week.
Good, great, yeah. It's always a good time,
You guys do a great job of manufacturing your own cliffhangers, because you always hoard these abilities to the last minute and then ask a whole bunch of really awkward questions, and then I say bye-bye.
But I have to, because what if another question comes up during the game that I really need the answer to? If I ask a question that I have right at the beginning, then I'll need it by the end and feel, I'm stressed.
You're welcome. Isn't it great that these games are so relaxing?
Yeah. No.
Oh boy. Here I was hoping we were done with that lot.
Mm-mm. No, because we too are very nicely camouflaged.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Great Mustache. The catch is that the people in question only know specifically know Alexandria very well, so they don't know where Alexandria is per se as framework. You're welcome, Kidja. And so it's going to take a while for them to figure out what the place is to scry the place instead of the person. And because Alexandria refuses to hold still,
ADHD saving the day again.
it is a superpower.
Power cannot stay still.
Every time we try to get to the plot comes to us.
Plant your feet, he said. Plant your feet. Don't move. Make it move you. Now I'm running. I'm scared. You have me now.
I wasn't talking literally.
Look what you did. You called a plot point to us. We were safe.
That you awful fast.
Came at us at the speed of plot.
Oh no, not the speed of plot. We didn't
This
do.
must be a plot appropriate moment.
No, not a plot appropriate moment. We didn't do any shout outs at the beginning of the stream.
That's true.
Oh, right, because we just turned on the button and started babbling the way we tend to
We
do.
started
yes.
talking.
Oh yeah, Sam. We managed to talk about systemic racism and alignment and
and Monster Hearts briefly.
Under 40 minutes too.
Yeah, 30 minutes. I cut it at 30 because I see us. I can see how long the session's been going, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cut it down by like 5 minutes every time.
No, you're not. You will try, but you will fail.
I've practiced from 45 to 30, I think. I'm working on it. Jamie, are you doing anything? Tell us.
I'm not doing anything visibly online at the moment except this, which is a good thing to do. But I urge people to check out streamshakespeare.com, where shows that I have directed and or been in are available for very cheap or nothing on YouTube or the website, and they're good. Yeah.
Nothing is a good
Back
price.
in next week, because what could possibly happen in this madhouse?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Michelle, what are you doing?
Getting back to normal. For those of you who don't know, service was temporarily suspended last week, which is to say I hit and played an awful lot of Cities Skylines. But getting back to my usual streaming routine, it's a long weekend in here in Canada, so maybe bonus stream this weekend. Probably me probably playing more Cities Skyline. But that's so fun. Also, if you like builder games, Cities Skyline is 80% off this weekend on Steam. So that is my cheap promo. Mostly because I think it's a fantastic addiction that I encourage everyone else to get involved in. And
Not yet
book
a sponsor.
writing. Yeah, not yet a sponsor, yes. Also, book writing continues, and I've mostly decided I'm going to do my first published adventure on RPG Director. I will let you know more as I get there forward.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm 20 hours in on a map, and there's just too much work in it for me to not want to. And it's something completely different for me in terms of style, so I want to actually publish it as a full adventure that other people can enjoy.
Nice.
So, yeah.
That's exciting.
So yeah. So that's things with me. Hey, that would be fun, Great Mustache. Yeah. Yes, Muffin. That's exactly what it is. If you keep half an eye open, if you keep half an eye open on my Discord server, you'll often see me playing it. And I'm be happy to sit and babble about it while playing. So yeah. So that's me.
It's also got a better handle on traffic. Anyway, Sam, tell us.
I'm not really doing much outside of this either. I recently did a bit of a push to get myself being a bit more proactive, doing voice acting things. So auditioning for stuff, and I definitely got I say rejection letter. It was very well worded, because it was done by Kevin, and he's good people.
He is good people.
So it was the nicest rejection letter I've ever had.
You got a rejection letter. That doesn't happen.
Which is again, it's like getting one in the first place. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah, in this day and age, rejection letters they don't bother to even write them, let alone send them. They just don't call you to let you know you got the job.
Yeah. The best, is you see someone else doing the job that you went in audition for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what I was assuming, but
exactly. Me.
Yes,
Monday, Gehenna Academy, which is a Monster Hearts game. Oh, wait, no, hang on.
I'm not doing much. Well, I'm not doing much. I had some stuff on Monday.
24 hours from now, I'll be just about finishing up running Monster Hearts over at NE_actor.
Nadine.
I'm just going to call it the first crew over there playing some Monster Hearts.
I watched the first episode, and let me tell you, it was an experience. If you enjoyed Nadine here, like there's some stuff.
I can only imagine how chaotic she gets when she's a teenager.
No, but there's stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's definitely a moment because I wasn't watching, I was just listening. I had to stop what I was doing. I was just like, what's happened? What is going on? What is this?
The VODs are actually up on our YouTube.
Oh, amazing.
Awesome.
So we have access to that.
Fantastic.
The first and second sessions are up. We will be playing tomorrow. So I don't know when that one will be up, but we'll figure that out.
Fantastic.
Monday, Gehenna Academy. This is Eastern Time. 7:30 Eastern Time. Twitch.tv and /Gehenna Gaming. I'll be back next week. Oh, I have a session 0 in like 6 hours. Haha. For Omen's Rising. Omen's Rising will be coming here. We will be playing a game in a few months. Here. Right here. Yeah. Not in my cleavage. Like, here. just realized where I was pointing. I'm sorry. If you're really lucky, I don't know.
I misunderstood what our game this was, I guess.
Sorry, what? Rising?
Rising? All of the omens.
What is that?
Omens heaving.
Omens paying attention, please.
Yes.
Omen's Rising, which is a narrative exploration game that I have been writing, so that'll be fun.
I cannot wait.
I'm really excited. It's getting cleaner and it's looking so good. Also, I will be writing about this session on my site, which is wordswithcolor.com. I think that's it. Sweet. We'll be back next week.
Yep.
3 hours earlier.
Yep.
For this time.
Yes. Because this is the end time.
This is the end time.
Showing up at the end time means you get the ending, not the starting. The starting is of minimal value some days, but it's better to show up at the starting.
Jamie, you have absolutely nothing to say to that, 'cause it's true. And with that, see you next week.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.